We are all sculptors, but the difference is some are carving their destiny with a chisel called discipline, while others are letting time erode their potential by default. The question is not whether life will shape you. The question is, will you take hold of the tools and shape it yourself? Discipline is the quiet force that turns wishes into will and will into results. And if you don't master it, life will discipline you in its own way with regret. You know, people often say, he's lucky, he's just naturally disciplined. But that's not how it works. Discipline isn't in your DNA. It's not a blessing handed down from the heavens. It's a decision, a firm, quiet decision that you make when no one's watching and no one's clapping. When I started out, I had no riches, no influence, no grand strategy. What I had were habits that matched my results. Poor habits, poor results. And I'll tell you, nothing changed until I made a decision. Not a wish, not a someday, a decision. That decision didn't come easy. It came one evening after I realized I was falling behind, not just financially, but in character. I was blaming everyone, the taxes, the boss, the weather. But then I heard something simple that stopped me cold. Asterisk. If you don't like where you are, change it. You're not a tree. Asterisk. That was it. From that day, I stopped looking for someone to rescue me and started doing the daily, quiet work of self-discipline. I decided to rise earlier, think clearer, spend wiser. Not because I felt like it, but because I chose to. You see, when you make a real decision, you cut off any other option. The Latin root of the word decision means to cut. And that's what discipline requires. Cutting off the comfort of delay. Cutting off the need to feel good before doing what's right. Discipline is not something you wait for. It's something you command. When you build a business, when you build wealth, you don't wait to feel ready. You decide what must be done, and you do it. Whether it's showing up early to study a new idea, or resisting the urge to spend what you haven't earned, discipline is the tool that sharpens your edge. My mentor once told me, you can't hire someone to do your push-ups for you. That stuck with me. Because no matter how much talent you have, no matter how much potential is locked inside, if you don't choose discipline, all of it goes to waste. Success doesn't respond to intention. It responds to execution. And execution is always born from decision. You can tell a lot about a man by the promises he keeps to himself. Not the ones he makes when the crowd is watching, but the quiet ones, the invisible ones. The promise to wake up early and study. The promise to finish what he started. The promise to put principle over pleasure. That's where your character is revealed. Not in the flash of ambition, but in the follow-through. Because discipline, my friend, is not just a tool for success. It is the mirror of who you are becoming. I've met folks who talked big, had a wall full of dreams, notebooks full of plans, but when the time came to act, they crumbled. Not because they lacked ability, but because their discipline was performative. It was loud when others listened, but silent when the lights went off. You want to know what real strength looks like? It's doing the work when no one will ever applaud. It's staying faithful to your routine when no one will ever know if you broke it. That's not just behavior, that's identity. I remember a young man who came to me once, excited, ambitious. He said, I want to build wealth, I want to lead. I want to grow. I asked him, tell me about your habits. He shrugged. He had big ideas, but no daily proof. I said, your habits are the evidence of your character. You don't get rich by chance. You get rich by discipline. And until your behavior aligns with your vision, you're just rehearsing dream. Discipline draws the line between the person who talks and the one who lives it. It's not about being perfect, it's about being consistent. If you say health matters, your calendar should show it. If you say growth matters, your bookshelf should reflect it. If you say wealth matters, your spending should honor it. You can't lie to your behavior. You either show up or you don't. And the man who keeps breaking his own word begins to doubt his own strength. But every time you do what you said you would do, especially when it's hard, you build something deeper than success. You build self-trust. And that's a kind of wealth no one can take from you. Time is the one asset that no one can give you more of, no matter how wealthy or powerful they are. You might hear people say, I'll start tomorrow, or I'm just waiting for the right moment. But the truth is, the clock doesn't care about your excuses. Every minute wasted is a minute lost forever. If you want to master discipline, you must first master your relationship with time, because how you spend your hours reveals exactly who you are and what you value. I remember when I first realized how much time I was throwing away. I was busy, but busy doing the wrong things, chasing distractions, reacting to every little interruption. I thought I was moving forward, but in reality, I was spinning my wheels. It was like running on a treadmill, lots of motion, no progress. One day I sat down and asked myself, is my day running me or am I running my day? That question changed everything. The most disciplined people I know don't just set goals. They schedule their success. They block time for what matters, and they protect those blocks fiercely. Instead of saying, I'll get to it when I can, they say, this is when it gets done. When you assign time to your priorities, you eliminate the temptation to negotiate with yourself. You remove the chaos and bring clarity. I found that shifting from a to-do list mindset to a calendar mindset transformed my productivity. There's an old saying, don't spend major time on minor things. Every yes to something unimportant is a no to something vital. Learning to say no, especially to distractions and low-value tasks, is a discipline in itself. When you protect your time like it's your most precious treasure, you start living intentionally instead of reacting aimlessly. And that, my friend, is how you turn discipline from a fleeting feeling into a lifelong practice. Because when you master time, you master your life, and your life will begin to reflect the discipline you decide to show up with every day. Resistance is something every person who strives for more will face. It's not a wall meant to stop you. It's a signal, a signpost, telling you that you're moving towards something meaningful. I've learned that resistance is the tug of your old habits, your comfort zone, and your fear, all wrapped up together, trying to pull you back to safety. But safety rarely leads to growth. In fact, growth and comfort are strangers. When I first started building my life, I ran into resistance every day. There were moments I wanted to quit, to give in to the easier path. But I realized something important. Resistance is a natural part of the process, not a sign you're off track. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." Those hard moments, the friction, the pushback, they're the training ground for your discipline. I remember working late nights, long after others had gone home, feeling the weight of exhaustion settle in. My mind whispered, "Rest now. Tomorrow will be easier." But I pushed through. Each time I chose to act despite resistance, I was telling myself, I am in charge. Over time, the resistance didn't disappear, but it lost its power over me. It became the green light to keep moving. Discipline is not about waiting for resistance to vanish. It's about learning to dance with it, to use it as fuel rather than a hurdle. When you can take that voice of doubt and say, "I will act anyway," you begin to lead yourself in a new way. That's self-mastery. That's the art of discipline. Resistance is a sign that you are stretching beyond who you were yesterday, and that is where true success begins. There's a dangerous trap many fall into, the belief that they need to feel ready before they act. They wait for motivation, for the perfect moment, for inspiration to strike like lightning. But that moment rarely comes on its own. You see, feeling ready is a luxury that the disciplined never afford themselves. They understand that readiness is not a precondition. It's the result of action itself. When I was starting out, I didn't feel ready to take risks. I didn't have all the answers. And honestly, I was afraid of failure. But I realized that waiting for readiness was just another way of hiding from responsibility. So I began to act anyway. I studied a little each day, made phone calls, knocked on doors, even when my confidence wavered. With each step, my readiness grew. The act of doing created the readiness, not the other way around. Benjamin Franklin once said, "You may delay, but time will not." This truth kept me moving forward. Waiting for motivation is like waiting for the wind to carry you. Discipline is rowing your own boat, whether the water is calm or rough. There's power in starting where you are, with what you have, and pushing through the discomfort. Think of a farmer planting seeds. The ground might be cold, the weather uncertain, but the farmer plants anyway, knowing the harvest depends on action, not on perfect conditions. So it is with discipline. Don't wait for the emotional green light. Don't wait for everything to feel right. Decide what must be done and do it. That's how you build momentum, how you build belief, and how you master the art of self-discipline. You know, willpower gets a lot of credit, but it's often overrated. It's that fleeting spark of energy, a flame that burns bright, but fades quickly. If you rely on willpower alone, you're building your success on quicksand. The real game changer is systems, those reliable routines and structures that carry you forward day after day, no matter how you feel. Early in my journey, I noticed something. On the days I was fired up and motivated, I could push mountains. But the next day, when fatigue or doubt crept in, I stumbled. I realized that counting on motivation was like trying to sail a ship using only the wind. It's unpredictable and out of your control. So, I began building systems. A morning routine, a reading habit, a budget plan. These weren't glamorous, but they were dependable. As Aristotle wisely said, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Habits and systems form the backbone of discipline. When you create an environment where good choices are automatic, you remove the need for endless self-control. For example, instead of deciding each day whether to exercise, You schedule it at the same time, in the same place, making it a non-negotiable appointment with yourself. Let me give you a practical example. I once coached a young man who struggled with saving money. Instead of relying on willpower to resist spending, he set up a system where a portion of his income was automatically transferred to a separate account. No debate, no temptation, just discipline built into the process. Systems take the guesswork out of discipline. They turn fleeting energy into lasting progress. When your life runs on well-designed systems, you don't wait to feel motivated. You simply follow the path you've created. That's how you master discipline for a lifetime. Now, after all we've talked about, the decisions you make, the character you build, the way you master your time, and how you face resistance, you must understand that self-discipline is not a destination. It's a lifelong journey. It's the steady heartbeat beneath every achievement, the silent commitment that separates those who dream from those who do. The world won't hand you success, and motivation won't stay by your side forever. But discipline, true discipline will. It's the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. So I challenge you today to stop waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect feeling, or the perfect plan. Decide now. Decide to take control of your time, to build systems that serve you, and to meet resistance with resolve. Promise yourself that you will keep the quiet commitments no one sees, because those small, consistent acts build the foundation for everything you desire. Remember, the person you want to become isn't built by chance, but by the choices you make every day. Discipline is your tool, your companion, your greatest ally. Use it wisely, and you will craft a life of purpose, progress, and peace. Now go and start showing up for yourself, because your future depends on it.